Timsy, thank you for coming. Look, I'm really excited to be just sitting here chatting with you because we always have great conversations.
Yeah, we do.
I think just in a basketball context and to be able to discuss some of the experiences that you've had and I think that's really exciting for us and I'm pretty sure the people watching are going to really appreciate it. So thank you so much for coming.
I'm sure we're going to digress off in very many different paths.
Absolutely.
But anyway, it'll be good.
Yeah, definitely. So look, I guess we'll just start with the fact that, you were one of the first Australian players to play over in Europe and then obviously in the WNBA, and you were someone that I looked up to as a youngster. My brother idolised you, which, that's pretty awesome. So I guess what's changed in the last sort of 30 years in terms of the professionalism of the sport? And you've seen players now go over to the WNBA and over to Europe and even in the WNBL to some extent. Like, what in your eyes are some of the, I guess the changes that have happened, but as a trailblazer, it would have been pretty tough, like back in your day, to do all these things.
It wasn't tough because we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So it was just, you just did what you did, First time I went overseas was after the 88 Olympics, and that was to Germany. And not many people had been overseas playing hoop before.
Yeah.
And so I went over, Lorraine Landon put my name forward. There was a team that asked, with the point guard for Australia after the 88 Olympics, want to come over and play. So I went over and played, and at that stage things were different because I had a full-time job. So I was working at Basketball Victoria with Lindsay and Bruce Palmer and Ian Stacker and Bill, the crew, and this opportunity knocked. So I went overseas, and that was really the first time that I got to feel what it was like to be a full professional. So just purely over there to play hoop and not have to work as well. So obviously things have changed since then. Now, I just spent 8 weeks at the end of the WNBL season with the Melbourne Boomers, and I'd watched the WNBL, but I hadn't been behind the scenes for years and years and years, and it was I was so impressed with what the WNBL has become. It's professional. It's like I would say a smaller version of the WNBA, but the way Melbourne Boomers ran it was like a full-scale WNBA, and everything was there. So back in my day, you'd train here, you'd do weights on your own over there. If you wanted a track and field coach, or you'd get someone over there, and recovery was heard of, but not something that was built into your program. And to go down and experience what was happening at the Melbourne Boomers was really exciting for me and made me really proud to think of how far the game's come in Australia.
Yeah.
Sure, we've got lots more to do for the women's game, but I was really happy for the athletes, and they could rock up to training at 8 and be done by 12 with everything from watching video to getting ankles taped, and then training, and then cool down in the special baths and the pools and the gym. It's just unbelievable. So from that point of view, even just in the WNBL, it's changed remarkably.
Yeah. That's true. It definitely has come a long way in the last few years. So even from when I was playing, we didn't have that level of professionalism at all. I guess, you've been retired a fair while now, and I'm not saying anything, but
I think it's about 20 years.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it is. Yep. Like, there's going to be a lot of coaches using the platform and watching this podcast and stuff. And I guess from your perspective, like, what attributes do coaches need for this generation of athletes? Because I know you're doing a lot of coaching of younger athletes as well, and it has changed. The athletes have changed, and their
the mentality's really changed. Like, kids are a lot different now, and I don't mean to upset any parents. I am a parent, so I feel like kids aren't as resilient, I think, as they used to be. And I think the old school way of coaching, being aggressive in your face, you just could not get away with it these days at all. You'd have kids crying everywhere, you know. And it's maybe not, it's not the way to coach, to get the best out of somebody. But back then it seemed to work, with different athletes. But I think the thing that I'm learning about coaching, especially with the young kids, is that you need to be able to be a great communicator with them. Like, I find that I demand a certain level of focus or listening skills, So I'm a little bit hard in that way. I'm like a school teacher in that way. No, you're listening, you're holding the ball, so it's about, it's a little bit of respect too. So the kids have to respect the fact that the coach is talking, and their eyes need to be a bit old school. Eyes need to be on the person who's talking, and and holding the balls and not bobbling it around everywhere. So the communication and is a big thing that I think coaches, need to have great communication and know how to talk to the younger generation, but also still demand certain qualities that that are no-brainers, like you can't accept anything less, know. So I find that I'm a bit of a mix of, a bit of a, even with the under 12s and 14, a bit of a hard taskmaster, but encouraging and trying to get them explore themselves, and so come on, you can do it. Yeah, great job. Nah, that's call them out. Like, no, that's not your maximum speed. I know you can go. So hard, but in a positive way. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, it is.
But it's really important to be able to communicate. That's the big thing with this. I was in China for quite a while, and I came back here, and that's the first time I realised, it was 2018, the end of 2000. I realised that, oh my gosh, kids are so different now. Like, I spent like 6 years in China. Coming back, it was like, that's the thing I noticed. Boys crying at their training sessions, and I'd go and watch kids play, and they were breaking down in tears. So that for me was the first thing I noticed that was different to the, years ago when we were junior, or I was juniors, or you were juniors, or just that older generation. These kids coming through a lot more sensitive, have a lot more anxiety that we speak about and identify, and so I just noticed that, and with that meant that coaches need to change their approach to the way they go about things.
It's interesting, like, even talking about that, because I know, like, I've dealt with anxiety throughout my whole career, even since I was a kid, and man, I just had to suck it up. Like, we didn't talk about it, and
I had really bad anxiety, and you're right, it was really unheard of.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it.
No, and I'd be having an anxiety attack during the warm-up, but you're taught all these ways on how to breathe and get through it, but that just took so much emotion and so much energy. Not emotion, it took so much energy out of my body. So I just thought, stuff it, I'm just going to let it just overwhelm me, get it over and done with, and then I'll be ready to go, So I'll be in a warm-up and I'll have tears just, coming down my eyes because I'm going...
I think I remember looking at you in a warm-up once and going, is she... No, it's got to be sweat.
So real, but it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't spoken about, so it wasn't... I was lucky I had good people around me, and I guess lucky that people like yourself didn't make a big deal out of it. But nowadays it's good because it is talked about, and parents, it's more familiar than not nowadays. So you need to know, with that becomes great responsibility as a coach. You need to know how to then nurture and coach children who more often have anxiety and dealing with other issues in their life that are identified nowadays, whereas before they weren't. And and so it's much more than just being a coach. You've got you've got a great responsibility and have to manage a lot of different things. Yeah.
Well, we'll flip that, but what attributes in young athletes or athletes are you seeing are really important for their future success? So I guess kids that you see that are developing into like really good young athletes.
Oh yeah, look, I just think it's interesting actually, because I've been through just with Basketball Victoria, going to their camps and stuff. It's really interesting because I see you need to be a good listener.
Yeah.
The kids, if you come to a camp, and this is tough because kids have ADHD and kids have other disorders, and I think as a coach you need to be able to identify that very quickly, because kids don't go to those elite camps wanting to mess around or wanting to not be focused. And I'm sort of going a bit sidetracked here. And that's where it's really important from the coach's point of view to be able to go, okay, hasn't listened 3 times, but this is an elite camp. This is like, we're trying to identify the 20 best kids or whatever. Okay, so clearly there's a learning disability or some sort of issue, and then you've got to identify that and go, okay, let's try making this kid be the person who demonstrates a skill. So that way they can actually do it and they're forced to sort of focus at that time because they've got the ball in their hand or they're doing the drill.
Wow.
Okay, so that's a way of around it, you know.
Yeah.
But so kids need to be great listeners, but coaches also need to understand different things that are happening in you know, exactly. So they can quickly jump on that, because I've seen a couple of kids who've been really good not go any further because they might be seen to not concentrating and not getting a drill. Come on, we've been doing it for, you know, we just demonstrated. How come you don't know? You know, you're not concentrating. So I'm sort of a bit split on that one, but I like, you know, good listeners, or I know I can back myself in knowing that this kid needs to be taught a different way.
Yeah.
Athleticism. I look at the athlete first and then go from there. But look, I know there's been plenty of kids who haven't been athletically gifted, but they know how to use what they've got. So they've got a really high IQ and they've got a great change of pace, herky-jerky, stop-start sort of athlete, you know. But I like the if you come in and you're an athlete, Timsy's going to love you, because I know I can go from there backwards. Like, I know I can teach you stuff.
Yeah.
Can't always teach that incredible explosiveness or you know, dynamic quality, or so I mean, I am a bias towards a great athlete, you know, but also on that same side, I love a great defender.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's funny, I was listening to someone talk today and they said their first thing is they like the great scorers, and I'm a bit different. I know you got to put the ball in the hole, but I love the energy that a great defender can bring to a team as well, and what they can do.
Blackwards.
Yeah, exactly. So not only being able to lock someone down, but really become like a heart and soul, you know, of your team.
Yeah. No, that's true. I love a good role player.
Yeah.
Look, I guess sort of on that, the Opals are, you know, after the Olympic experience last year, how do you sort of see them progressing past that in the lead up to the World Cup?
Well, I think we've cut the cord with Liz Cambridge, and I think that was kind of necessary for both parties, you know. So now that's absolutely been cut. You know, as of a couple of months ago or a month ago, it's been sliced and diced. So that is history. So now it's a time for the Opals to really reinvent themselves or discover who they are, discover what brand, you know, what style. I think that's one thing for me, is that I look at the Opals right now, I'm not quite sure, like, who are they?
Yeah.
You know, are they a great defensive team? Are they a run and gun team? Are they, like, what are they going to hang their hat on, you know? And it's exciting for them because they've got this opportunity now to try and work that out. And it's going to be tough though, because I mean, half the players are in the WNBA, but I'm excited for them, because if it's not this World Cup, it's for the Olympics. You know, they'll get to discover who they really are and what sort of team they want to become, and the way they're going to go about getting back up on the dais, which we all want to see happen.
Yeah.
I'm a bit biased too, though, LJ, and you're probably going to cut this, but I reckon they lack a little leadership, and that's why I'm all for a young Lauren Jackson suiting up and getting back out there. You know, I mean, let's be honest, because we're chatting and we're old. I'm old and you're still old and potentially
pretending that I'm young. One of those things.
But you know, I feel a little bit of leadership could go a long way in helping them. A little bit of old head could help them. You know, we just saw the Japanese series. And I'm not going to hold anything back here. The point guards struggled, you know, to the point where now I think the Opals are thinking, oh, maybe we go combo guards, or maybe. But my whole thought process, putting myself in a Rochis or Shiloh Heels or come on, my fate, you know, she's a little nugget point guard who plays the D, Steph Reed. Yeah. Was that I kept thinking about you know. If ever I had trouble as a point guard, I knew that my post players had my back. And I could just see you jogging down the court and then spinning around over the centre line and coming back and wiping that point guard out for me, you know. And we yes, the post players did stand there for the point guard to run into, but it's different, because then you bring your defender in. And I just feel like a bit of leadership there might have really helped the point guards. Do the point guards have a lot to work on? Yes, they do. But I'm all for LJ making a big comeback, people, and whether it's just for this World Cup or, I know you're probably going to cut this, but that's how I honestly feel. And I think that leadership is something that's, and you help build a culture too.
Yeah.
A winning culture. You're a winner, you understand winning, and it can really help this next generation, understand and discover who they could be as a team.
Okay.
I don't expect you to talk a bit to that because it's...
No, I'm not going to.
It's about to, so we can move on.
No, I mean, look, I think, with the Opals as well, it's really, for me personally, I'm really excited to see the development of Ezzy. I feel like with the Boomers last year, she really sort of made some strides in the WNBL, but like watching the way that she's playing now.
Oh man, she's balling. In the WNBA? Yeah, she's doing great.
Having moments of real brilliance and just how smooth she is and the way that she's able to get up and down the court and block people and just, like, it's incredible. So I'm really excited to see what she brings back to the national team.
Yeah, that's the thing with Ezzy. She's slowly, year after year, building more consistency into her game and also skills, becoming more of the package. And yeah, she's going to be exciting in her gameplay right now. And you speak of a few more in the WNBA right now. Like Steph Talbot's D's been on song. She's, I've heard a lot about Steph being a defensive player, and at times you see it, but man, she's gone into some serious lockdown mode. I mean, there's one highlight for Steph that just jumps out at me. Whenever I think of her now, I think of her closing out on a player in the WNBA. I can't remember who it was, just at the 3-point line, blocked it,
it was awesome.
Chased after it, one dribble from the centre line as she got over the centre line and laid it in.
Yeah,
like that's exciting for the Opals. And then you got young Christy Wallace, who's not in the team, but boy oh boy, she's not in the team, but gee, she's gonna give it a good crack. She is playing extraordinary hoop right now. In that combo 1-2 position and shooting the rock great.
You'd think that anybody that was sort of having that sort of an impact over in the WNBA would be,
But you got her and Jade Melbourne as well. How exciting is that?
Jade Melbourne.
So there was a lot of talk about the poor old point guards, but let's break that down a little bit. It's probably the first time any of those 3 point guards have played Japan, that style. And it was their first, time of really running the point for any longevity in the game. Any of them, I think, internationally. So, but having said that, there's some really good things came about. One was Jade Melbourne, which we just briefly touched on, in that, just seeing her blow up in that last quarter, and the third and the fourth quarter of that second game shows the potential. She had no fear. Absolutely
awesome
no fear. And Tess Madgen was super as well. She showed tremendous leadership within the group on the court, so it was fantastic. And Kayla George did her. Kayla George. But it is exciting. You've got you've got to add those kids from the WNBA. So right now, and even after seeing us lose 2 out of 3 to Japan, I honestly think when we get our group back, we'll beat Japan and we'll finish 1 or 2 in our pool. So for me, it's absolutely, like, we've got too much talent. It's going to be, I guess, we need to get the group together, the full group together in a short amount of time once the WNBA is finished. But I believe there's tournaments and things that they're going to play, which is going to be fantastic for Sandy to see the group, pick the group, and then get the group grinding before
that needs to be.
Before the first toss in September.
And that's, how exciting is that going to be? I think for me, like, looking at it from a perspective of being a spectator, I think just knowing that we're going to have such quality basketball on our home shore.
It's unreal. My only regret is that Spain's not here.
Yeah, right.
Spain missed out. For those who don't know, they missed out on going to the World Championship because in the qualifiers in Europe, half their team had 3 of their main players had COVID.
Yeah, right.
So they didn't qualify through to the pre-qualification game. So, but anyway, other than them, it's just going to be so exciting.
It is.
Oz 94 was the last time. Well, 2000, but for a World Cup, Oz 94 was the last time, and I was really privileged to be able to play then. And the atmosphere in that arena, which was at the, I think it was the old entertainment centre, was phenomenal. We had the Brazilians banging their drums, we had the Chinese in song, it was absolutely amazing. And because, Australia is such a great melting pot, it's just going to be fantastic when the World Cup's on, because everybody's going to come out, not only from overseas, but what we have in Australia already, come and support.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And I think just also like the Opals reunion stuff, I'm really excited just to see all the old players and everybody that I guess contributed to getting the Opals program here to where it is today. I think that's a really exciting time for us to be able to get together and get reconnected and
really for those who don't know that's all the old Opals are going to get together and meet and support the young guns, the young Opals. So that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories and a lot of just love to go around.
I know, and I think it's really important for this group of Opals to feel that as well.
Yeah.
They probably haven't felt it in the past, but not a lot of opportunity, not many games played here, but now it's in our own backyard. It's going to be wonderful to be able to support them as a former Opal.
Yeah, and it's been, I think the other thing for me has been really sort of telling since I retired. So, 2016, granted I was pregnant, but like when we lost that game in I think it was a quarterfinal or whatever, it was like 4:00 in the morning. I was literally crying. Like, and I'm not saying I was overly emotional, but I was like crying because I felt so bad for them. I felt, we feel that, and I've got to know that all the Opals go through similar emotions watching the current Opals play.
Yeah.
So it is great that we'll be able to show them, like they'll be able to see it and feel us, and feel our support for them. But also knowing that we are there with them, and we've walked this road, and we're there with them, supporting them the whole way.
Absolutely.
2 points to Michele Timms, and when she's hitting shots like that, you know that Michele Timms has her sight glued in.
So our theme this month is women supporting women, and I guess I just wanted, I kind of got an idea of some of the women that have supported you along the way, but who are some of the women who have had a huge impact on you, either as friends or mentors, who have supported you or provided a safe place for you in your journey in basketball?
You know what? I've had some great mentors. Obviously the first one would be Robin Marr, who first came off the rain. I was always so intimidated by her. Then I got to play with her at Spectres, and then she was the captain of our Australian team, and just a wonderful individual as well.
Yeah.
So I got to learn how to be a captain from Robin, and be an Opal. Really, when you look at the Opals themes, the original Opal themes, I think each and every one of them is Robin Marr. So she was a great mentor to have, and still to have. And for me as a player, Jan Smithwick.
Yeah.
She was a point guard for Australia and CYMS, and I was a young kid coming through and probably thought myself a little better than I was, and she was always fantastic. She'd always chat to me. Like we'd play, our state team would play the senior women's, CYMS or whoever they'd organised, and I remember on a number of occasions, and this has really stuck with me forever, that she talked to me and helped me through. Whether it was the way I was communicating to my teammates or whether it was this decision I made here. So she's someone that I've always loved and goes down as, one of my favourite players of all time. And Karen Marr is another one as well.
Yeah.
She's another former Opal. I think they're probably the main ones that had big impact on my basketball career. And obviously, everyone will be mentioning their mums as well. So, mum was a big impact on, especially when, in the young days, I was a bit wild, in the mid-20s and that. She had no control over that. But before then, so she was definitely a mentor as well.
No, I guess I just wanted to say too, for me, you've been a big mentor and a big part of my career. I think growing up as a kid, watching you play and what you did overseas and then with the Australian team, and then actually being able to play with you in the twilight of your career.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets is not being able to play with you. Like I was at the end of my career and you were just coming into Lauren Jackson-ness. And so I was disappointed I never got to play. I reckon we would have been a dynamic duo.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. But I've always sort of fed off your energy, and I think everything that you are as a person and what you embody is the Opals. And I don't know if I've actually ever said that to you, but for me, that's what I see when I see you. I see the Opals. So
really nice.
It's true. So I just wanted to say that, and to me, thank you very much just for having a short chat with us today. And I can't wait to see what your future brings. And I know you're still making such a huge impact in basketball in this country. So keep being you and keep being amazing. And
thanks, Lois. No, it's a pleasure.
And love you.